The vision is that we see sustainable practices and environmentally focused practices embedded in every area of management. It should be at the heart of our political systems, our economic systems. It should be at the heart of our societies, our communities, and that vision needs to be huge. My vision for what we could do with the environment is huge. I think if you look at companies like SpaceX, Elon Musk's vision for SpaceX isn't just that we get to Mars. It's an unreasonably big vision with things that are currently impossible. I don't think he wants to see us as a species that gets to Mars. I think he wants to see us as a species that has space-faring technology, the equivalent to what we'd see in sci-fi, in things like Star Trek or in things like The Expanse. And we're not there. We're nowhere near there at the moment. And I think from my side of things as an environmentalist, I want to see a situation where green space is the focus of our development. We build our housing around how we can manage green spaces and green corridors between green spaces. We have food gardens, we have environmentally focused natural native ecosystems in our gardens, because I think if we get that stuff right, we actually lose quite a few of the other things that we currently consider problems. If we look at things like carbon and carbon sequestration, if we get green space right, carbon sequestration becomes less of an issue because the natural world's doing it for us. We're not having to build systems the way we suck the carbon out of the air. We're surrounded by them here at the moment. So my vision for the company is that we play a big part in that. We move forward to a sustainable world that, and yeah, I'm going to use an example from sci-fi. Almost the solar punk idea, where we live in a society that is a circular economy. We're recycling the absolute maximum amount of stuff that we are. We're not having an enormous amount of waste, and our communities, our urban spaces aren't the grey urban sprawl that I grew up with, but that they have green space at the heart of them. And ultimately, the vision is that my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, will be able to experience a natural world that isn't as good as mine was when I was growing up, when I went out to places like Coombe Park and Bradgate Park and places like that. It's better that they are surrounded by natural environments, no matter whether they live in a city or whether they live in rural spaces. So that's really where the vision is, that we can do so much better, and WildZen Solutions has some of the answers to those problems, and I think we can make a big impact through that approach and that size of vision. We're not going to achieve it all. We can't possibly achieve it all. It's an unreasonably impossible vision with what technology we have at the moment, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be aiming for it. And I think that's the point behind the vision, that having a unreasonably large vision for how good the environment can be allows us to make the smaller steps towards that vision, which is what we're going to do as a company. So the WildZen Solutions mission for the next few years is fairly simple. I want to develop the company to the stage where we're the go-to company for environmental management strategy, where we're the go-to company for regenerative landscaping across the Midlands region. So I think for the first year, 18 months, 2 years, the focus is going to be on building the company up, getting the connections and the client base that allows us to connect across the Midlands region, starting really locally and then reaching out to up towards Nottingham and towards Leicester from our base in Coventry. And then in years sort of 3, 4 and 5, I think what we're going to be looking at there is, hopefully we'll have got the business to the stage where we can solve larger scale problems. Our initial focus is going to be on small businesses, small and medium enterprises, on the commercial sector, and small community projects and local residential projects. But I think if we can develop the company well over the first 2 years, then as things move forward into years 3, 4 and 5, we can look at bigger projects. I'd certainly hope that we can look in year 3 at being involved in afforestation work along the lines of developing Miyawaki forests and those type of projects, much larger scale projects than we perhaps focus on initially. And I think the desire is there from the client base to move into this area, and the drive's there from my side of things as a director and the founder of the company to push things in that direction. So I think there's really good opportunity, and we've got the mission to fulfill that opportunity. WildZen really has a commitment to integrated practice, systems thinking or holistic practices. So it's a key value for us that we embed sustainable management into everything that we do, into every area that we ourselves do as a company, and as we consult into other companies into what they do. We might have a key area of focus, but integrating practice across a company's operations is core to how we would approach things. We think that is how to really understand the natural world, and that it has a very strong link to how we manage the environment from a commercial perspective. So it's a key value to us is to this focus on integration or systems thinking. It's essential that we build strong, resilient communities, environmentally focused communities. So we have a deep commitment as a company. I have a deep commitment on a personal level to engage with our local communities, whether that's schools, whether that's religious or secular community groups. There's an enormous number of community focus groups out there that can benefit from getting themselves engaged with the local natural environment, and I'm deeply committed to being a part of that, whether that is assisting them with developing their own green spaces as they have green spaces, or the nature awareness training that we give. That was really to target small community groups to get them out into nature. I've run things in the past where I've taken people out who are not what you'd consider typical outdoorsy people. They've had the experience of understanding how the natural world has led to humans being where they are with our use of natural resources. I've introduced them to tracking, wildlife tracking, and some of the things that we perhaps overlook, the number of edible plants that are out here, the medicinal uses of plants, and how all of those things aren't just useful for humans, but how other wildlife interact with those things. And I'm really passionate about doing that. So that's getting the community focused. So that's a core value. Let's get communities more involved and more embedded into how they understand their natural space. And then the last value is, it's another commitment. It's a commitment to ecosystem restoration. There are green spaces that I visited as a child which I thought were really good. They were really nice, but as I've learnt more about the natural world and the environment, I realised that we had management practices in the past that were not great for the environment. They were great for us to go and visit the green spaces, and I've seen that recently at a place that's quite dear to me, a country park, where there was a large open field there that was managed as a mown grass field essentially while I was a child. We're getting better with our ecosystem restoration, and that is now an area that's being allowed to return to its natural heathland. So that's a great sign, but we need to do more of it, and I've got a deep commitment for myself and for WildZen that we value our local green spaces as they should be, as a natural green space. So there's a commitment there that what we will do as a company is to really drive that development of natural green spaces as native green spaces.